Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to demonstrate that you can set up a local coding agent on a really old hardware and perform tasks, and it would work pretty well. For this purpose, I have a 14-year-old desktop over here. It's the i5-3570 from Intel from 2012, running a GTX 1070. The 1070, I believe, came out in 2016 or 2017. It's a graphics card with an 8GB of VRAM. We are going to be running the Ornith 1.09b model, which is based on the Qwen 3.5. Basically, they took the Qwen 3.5 9 billion parameter model and they fine-tuned it for more coding. I found it honestly to have an edge on Qwen in Laravel related tasks. Now you might be wondering, why am I doing this? What's the purpose of running on old hardware? Well, the idea is that most enterprises don't have cutting-edge laptops. They have laptops from 2018, 2019. Maybe if we're lucky, they have an RTX 2060. And I want to demonstrate that if you have such hardware in your enterprises, that you could run local coding agents. Now I set the context window to 128,000, and the context window would increase your VRAM use. So even though the model could support up to 256,000, I set the configuration to match my VRAM, which is 8GB. If you're running an RTX 2060, you might have to be more conservative. Now, to test the model, I have a real-life task for it. So I have this apparel's website with articles of clothing. They have categories, and we are going to see here in the CMS, the category is an input text. It's not actually a dropdown. I think this is coming from Chrome. So it's a text and you save it, but that's not proper. We're supposed to have the categories be, their own table in the database with a many-to-one relationship, and the apparel should select the categories. So for this purpose, and I'm going to fix this later, for this purpose, I created a Jira ticket, and I'm telling the LLM through the Jira ticket what I want. I'm not spoon-feeding it, hey, create a table and do many-to-one. I'm giving it high-level requests, like I want categories to have their own menu in the CRM. I want to be able to create, read, and view them. I want to be able to select them from a drop-down. And I want you to conserve these that already exist, which is why offline I'm going to fix this. So let's actually run the coding agent. The coding agent is Spy, and I prepared the prompt. Not gonna spend time typing it. So I told it I have the ticket can6, which is this, and it needs to figure out how to use the Jira MCP and get to it. The MCP is configured with Pi. Please check out on an appropriately named branch. I have some skills configured here that are going to teach it what that means. I'm not sure where. Let's not spend time looking for it. And when finished, push the code, open a PR, give me a link. We will see. This is a tall order. We will see if it can do it correctly. Now, as it starts to work, you're going to see the GTX 1070 goes up to 100%. It's going to start by processing from the Pi harness all the instructions and maybe read the agent's file. And now it's actually outputting 24 tokens per second. Yep, we can see it right here. So it's gonna maybe mess up a few calls, but it usually fixes them itself, and then it runs, without any interference from me correctly, and it eventually finds its way. So this may take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording, and we will come back when it's done, and we will see the results. So see you in a bit.
A few moments later.
All right, you guys, we're back. It took around 40 minutes to do everything, and yeah, it accomplished the task correctly. See, if I go here and I click edit, categories are now a drop-down, and we have a categories tab. Now, I'm going to tell you where it kind of failed, and I'm going to show you right here. So I told it to create a PR and give me a link. It actually did create the PR itself successfully. And you can see the PR here. So it created it, but the link it gave me is a link to open a new PR, and it's not the link to the existing PR. So it's a tiny mistake in making the URL, not a big deal. It actually succeeded in opening the PR itself before giving me this link. The other thing I want to note is it tried to run tests and it hit against the SQLite, like SQLite is not configured on this machine. And I had to intervene and say, just skip testing, you won't be able to configure SQLite, because it was attempting to run apt install SQLite and stuff like that. I was like, I don't want it messing around. You see here, apt install SQLite 3, like it's not your job, just get on with it. So you occasionally have to intervene. And towards the end, I wanted it to set the ticket to in review. So I actually gave it a prompt, assigned the ticket to me and set it in review, because the ticket was in progress and it didn't assign it to me for whatever reason. And so it tried a few times. It wasn't getting it right. I didn't have to say anything. It kept trying and eventually it said done. It's been updated. PR opened and oh yeah, see, it's still giving me pull request /new instead of giving me the actual link. But something like that can easily be fixed with agents. Now, a mistake I myself did is, as you can see here, down here, it says the token limit is 84,000, but I actually launched the server with a 128,000 contacts. So I actually had neglected to update the Pi agent to know that it had 128,000 tokens. So it compacted the context at 80,000, but it doesn't matter. We are done. Let's go back to see the work real quick. Files changed. So we now have a model category. It's importing it in the controllers. We have a category controller for the CRUD. So at face value, it all looks good. We have migrations. The migration creates the category table. It has a name and a slug and timestamps. That's pretty nice. So Laravel standard. This is probably updating the apparels table. Yes, it's giving it category ID, foreign key. I actually have instructions not to set foreign keys in the database because I would like to clean this up and maybe test another model, and foreign keys are a hassle to get rid of. The database seeders. So yep, all's well. I want to just see like category, item arrow name. This is in the categories index. I want to see the apparels index, and I expect to see like category arrow name. Yes, there's also like null checks over here, and that's pretty nice. Like it thought it through, like, hey, what happens if we don't have a category, if this whole thing is null? Oh, I'm going to put a dash, so it doesn't actually crash. So this is pretty impressive for a 9 billion parameter model. Again, the model name is the Ornith 1.0. It's right here if you're interested in trying it out yourself. I realized watching it back that the categories are not showing, and I quickly looked into it. Turns out I had forgotten to run dbseed, or rather maybe the model forgot, so the code is actually doesn't have a problem. So if we refresh after the seed and the categories now show inside the admin apparels, let's see if the front page, oh, there are some issues with the front page. See, it's all uncensored. I'm showing it as it is. It's probably not rendering the model correctly. Maybe it didn't update these pages to do arrow category name. They're still doing arrow category and attempting maybe to print an object. Something to look into. So this model is definitely not for a hands-off vibe coding. If you know what you're doing, you can quickly, tell it what to fix, and it should be good. But this model is a savior in a pinch. So suppose you ran out of Claude Opus usages or codecs or what have you. Having this model as a backup is much better than having nothing. It's gonna look great on its own, but of course, you know, putting it head to head against a frontier model, and it's a bit underwhelming. I am going to make this repository public, so if you'd like to go in, examine the pull request, see what the model did, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you'd like to contact me as well, my inbox is open to everyone. And if you like this video, please put a like and share it. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.